Hello and welcome to the End User Report. This is Clarence.
This is Jamal.
Today's subject, we're looking at network neutrality and kind of what it means to you and what's happening with network neutrality right now. Again, Jamal, we know this is something that's very close to your heart. You are a conspiracy guy of the two of us. So why don't you go ahead and lead us off here?
Hang on, let me put my tinfoil hat on. Okay, let's start from the beginning. What is network neutrality? Well, network neutrality is best defined as a network design principle. In maximally useful public information networks that aspire to treat all content, sites, and platforms equally. This allows for the network to carry every form of information and support every kind of application. Keep in mind, this does not include private networks which do not need to be neutral and suggest that these can be extremely useful for other purposes. This concept is called an end-to-end design principle. An example of a technology that is neutral in nature would be the electric grid. The electric grid is implicitly built on neutrality theory. This is a technology that does not care if you plug a toaster or a 50-inch plasma TV, it will still provide electricity. Because of this, it has survived waves of innovation in the appliance market, from radios back in the 30s to flat-screen TVs that we see presently. Thus, just like the electric grid, the theory of net neutrality principle expects to deliver the most to a nation or world economically by serving a platform and socially by facilitating the widest variety of interaction between people.
Basically, what he's saying here in short is your telecommunication company, your ISPs, cannot dictate what you view over their networks. So basically, whatever you're using the internet for, the flow of traffic is equal no matter what site you're going to. There aren't any restrictions as to where you can go and how fast you can go.
Correct, but there's a little bit more to it than that, and really the debate arises out of a concern which has been expressed in many articles. If you want to look up some articles by Mark Lemley, who's a professor over at Stanford University who teaches law, and Chris Yu and Phil Weiser, just to name a few people. And in the show notes, Clarence, I'll give you the citations for that. The concept of net neutrality really is not an old concept in itself. It's probably been around since the 16th century English common law. Basically the concept of what is called a common carrier, which network neutrality is arguing for is a practice by which a private entity performs a public function. Network neutrality is based loosely on the dumb pipe concept, meaning that end-to-end network traffic of broadband pipes does not care what it carries, only that it reaches its destination.
Well, the reason why that this is coming up now is because of really what's happening. And basically, the big ISPs, and a lot of this is being spearheaded by Verizon and Google. I think it's fair to say that they're exclusively dating these days, those two companies. But what they're doing is they're spending millions of dollars to lobby Congress to actually do away with network neutrality. They want to be in control of what goes across their pipelines and how fast things go. And this is something that kind of the public, at least the public who does know about this, they're a little worried about this, and I guess I can kind of see why here.
Really, it comes down to three subjects of the law, or what I think is the arguing points here. There is a sharp difference. The design principle of common carrier with net neutrality law. A neutral network might be designed without legal prodding, as in the original internet. In an ideal world, either computational enlightened self-interest might drive carriers to design neutral networks. Really, it comes down to three things: blocking, MFN, which is basically most favored networking, and transparency failures. Really what blocking is essentially is that, like you mentioned before, if you, let's say, wanted to go to Hulu and your let's say your ISP was Roadrunner, and let's say Roadrunner had an exclusive connection with Hulu. What they would do is maybe up the pipe speed for those who wanted to access Hulu, and then anyone who wanted to access Hulu's competitors, let's say, I don't know, YouTube or something like that might be a competitor for Hulu. Or NBC or ABC's streaming. They would slow the pipes on them.
Well, the reason why I think people are concerned is because network neutrality pretty much says that in the case that you just brought up, your ISP can't slow down Hulu just because it's a competitor. You do away with it, in theory, your ISP can essentially tack on extra charges or even block access to Hulu based on the fact that it may or might not be a competitor.
Yeah, that gets to the next point, which is termination monopoly pricing, or the most favored network concept here. What would happen is, let's say, for example, if you had, again, going back to the ISP functionality, the base example is TV. Right now, they have televisions that can pipe internet into your TV, or they call them smart TVs now. And let's say you purchased a smart TV, it had internet access. You go to your local cable company and say, I want, cable TV. It might be where you have pricing. Well, okay, if you order cable from us, then you also have to charge you a fee. You have to have internet as well. Or if you just want internet, the cable companies or even the phone companies for that matter could say, well, you want internet, well, you also have to have phone and TV. And that's kind of like an exclusivity pricing, which a lot of people feel that isn't fair.
Well, yeah, I know I hear the explanations that you've given, but really quick, I just want to ask you, what are your feelings on network neutrality and going away? What do you think could happen there?
I honestly, I'm kind of like, and I know people are going to get upset when I say this, but I'm kind of like in the middle here, because I think that companies have the right to, to control their pipes, their bandwidth, whatever they choose, see fit. The issue that I kind of have is, what is to stop a user? I mean, I think what it is, in the long end, the user loses out, in my feeling, because, again, it comes down to content. It comes down to, the biggest thing is just there'll be less innovation, because, for, let's say, a person who wants to build an application on the web, they may have to abide by certain rules that ISP provides or whoever owns their bandwidth, and there should be some kind of transparency there. But apparently, in some cases, you may not have that situation, and so that kind of stifles innovation, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, I'm going to come out and just say I'm pro network neutrality. I don't like the idea of network neutrality going away, and I'll tell you why. I see this whole thing of network neutrality going away as a money grab by the ISPs. I think they feel entitled because they spent all this money setting up the infrastructure to get the services to you, and now I think they feel entitled that they have a right to control it. And again, I don't like it going away. I think you're 100% correct that the end user loses out here. I mean, what's to stop Verizon and Google, because they are spearheading this thing, what's to stop them from saying, okay, we know Google, they run YouTube,
which is really,
let's make it so, okay, Fios customers, you get full access to YouTube. Any other service provider, you got to pay extra, or we'll just straight up block access. I don't think that's right. I think the internet is the way it is, and it's the phenomenon that it is because there is so much freedom. You can go where you want to and pretty much do what you want to, as long as you're not breaking any laws. Plus, what's going to happen to bit turns if network neutrality goes away? Well, I mean,
the strangest thing is Google totally did a 180. 5 years ago, they were adamant and they were completely supportive of net neutrality. Then all of a sudden, over the 3 months ago, they have some secret inside talks with about how to to go around net neutrality or stop it. So I don't know what's up with Google. I honestly, I know their argument is that, well, we're still for net neutrality on hardwired networks, but on wireless, we feel that there should be no net neutrality, which I think is really bad because, let's face it, in about 10 years, if not sooner, this whole country is going to be basically connected via wirelessly.
Well, yeah, there's no coincidence there that they're aligned with Verizon. Verizon's the biggest wireless out there.
I think they're definitely.
So, but really quick here, we are kind of running short on time. What do you think the future of the internet holds?
That's a good question. I think that the ISPs or the big players are going to get their way, and they're going to basically thwart net neutrality. But I honestly think what's going to happen is that the users are going to probably uprise, or they're going to create their own pipes. I don't know how they'll do it, but they'll create their own wireless pipes or bandwidth pipes and circumvent this whole ISP and net neutrality issues altogether.
Well, yeah, I do think you're right. I do think they are going to get around that network neutrality at some point. This whole situation reminds me of an article that I read back in 2006 by John C. Dvorak, and I hope I'm saying his name right.
Yeah, you are.
in PC Mag. He wrote an article entitled "The Golden Age of the Internet," and basically he compared it to the golden age of radio back in I believe it was the 1930s. But basically he said the long and short of it is the internet is in a golden age right now. Enjoy it while you can. There's a new proprietary internet coming on the horizon where there's only going to be a limited few that are going to have unlimited access. And the way that I think about it, and the comparison that I think of, is cable TV, where you're going to have sort of kind of a tiered pricing plan where you're going to have to pay for access, not just speed, but actual access to certain types
content,
of websites.
I agree with you. I also read that article, and John is a little bit right on that. I think that the days of your dad's internet is going away in the next near future. Yeah.
So people get out there, get informed, and I say join the fight.
Yeah, get informed, talk to your local congressman or congresswoman, and tell them that you are supportive of net neutrality, and or if you're not supportive of it, again, go talk to your congressman or congresswoman who is on the other side of that argument.
Well, now let's kick it off to our next segment of the show. We call this Showing Some Love. Basically, we just shout out something that we've seen in technology this week. So, Jamal, who are you shouting out?
I'm shouting out the Borders, baby. You know why? Borders has just introduced not one, two tablets under $300. One is called the Cruise Reader, which is $200 or $199.99. And the other one is the Cruise Tablet, which is $300. And basically does almost everything that a iPad does, but cheaper.
I didn't know that was coming. You're such an Apple hater.
Dude, come on. That's worth it. I'm going to be the first one online for that, man.
You just need to get yourself like a tattoo with the Apple symbol with a big old slash through it. But I'm going to show some love here to Playdead Studios. And the reason why I'm shouting them out is because they have this game called Limbo that I'm just absolutely addicted to. This is the game that has me not playing Madden like I should be this week. So it's basically a puzzle platformer, the best one that I've played in recent memory. But that does about do it for us here at the End User Reports. This is Clarence.
This is Jamal.
Signing off.
Peace.